Hello everyone, welcome back to Cloudwings Technology. In this video, I will teach you step by step and practical guide of the Docker networking. First, we will see the theoretical part of the networking, which is very important. Then I will do the lab, so where you will understand more about the networking and how you can implement that thing. You can also see. So in the last video, we have learned about the Docker networking, and after 2 to 3 days, I'm going to upload this Docker networking videos. So let's see what exactly the Docker networking is. So in if you use the Docker container, if you use the Docker, then definitely you run the Docker containers. So that means in real time we are having multiple containers, not single containers. So application is having front end, back end, and database. So that's, and also today's we are going to following the microservice best practices. That's where we have the multiple containers, right, for each project. So to understand that, we have to understand the role of the networking. So what does Docker networking decides in real time? So Docker networking will decide like container communication, how the container will communicate with each other, host communication, like how your containers will connect with your host machine and you will be able to access that application from the browser, right? How container will manage the internet communication, and how the container will maintain the security and isolations. All these things we will see. So here you can notice one thing: networking is nothing but is all about the communication, right? So what happened in real time? Let me show one scenario. So you can see we have multiple containers in real time. This is not a this is not a real time scenario, guys, but similar to that, right? Because in multiple in real time we have many containers, not only three, right? So here, let's see this example. In your front end, your Angular application is running. In your back end, your Node.js application is running, right? You all know about the front end technology and back end technology. If you don't know, please go and search what are the front end technology in 2026 and what are the back end technology and what are the database technologies that we are using nowadays. So front end wants to communicate with back end, right? Because from user will always access your website some interface. That interface will created by your front end technology, right? And whatever the data related or belongs to the user, the data you will be stored inside the databases. Like let's say a textbook example, right? So Facebook is built upon the React technology, right? Facebook is built upon the React technology, and they use the microservice architecture, right? So they have multiple technology they use. They use even Node.js, Python, and Rust, right? Go, all these programming languages they use, right? But and one interface, right? They created one interface with the React.js, and if they have many backend technology, and they have one database, right? So they can store they can store data in one database or multiple database. This is also possible, right? Because of the microservice architecture, right? So guys, if you don't know about the microservice architecture, then you can comment. I will make a easiest video that make you understand. Okay, so this database needs also to communicate with the web tiers, right? So actually, guys, you can see this is the three-tier application architecture, right? So I will explain this architecture and how you will do this demo and practical and hands-on of the real life project, right? I am having this Angular project, I am having Node.js project, and I am having database. So I will make prepare for you guys and upload these project on the GitHub repository, and that GitHub repository I will share with you, and from that you can download that source code and you can practice whatever I'm telling in this video. Okay, so here the communication is right. This is what actually the all about the communication. Now you can think, how does networking work in the Docker, right? This is very, very important, right? If we understood how the networking is working in the container, then you will understand all about the communication, how the communication will happen with container to container, host to container, right? And so on. So right. So here we have the containers. To understand the container, we have to see the definition of the container first. So a container is a lightweight and usually we call it short-lived isolated process, right? So if in future anybody will ask you in interview, so you can say them a container is lightweight and short-lived isolated process, right? Don't call a container as a virtual machine, right? That thing we have understood in the difference between virtualization and containerization, and also we have see in the evolution of the application model, right? So if you haven't watched those videos, please go and watch these videos. There I have explained all about that. Okay. So here, this is container, right? So container will contain the application code and dependencies and configurations. This thing we have discussed in our previous video a lot of time. So I highly recommended follow the series in the sequence, right? Because if you don't follow the series in an order, then you will miss something, right? So yeah, do and watch video in sequence. So here you can see we have the containers, right? So container will be having C group, right? And container will be having namespace, right? C group is used to limit the resources. Namespace is used to group the resources, right? So here in every container, you will have the multiple namespaces and C group. So C group is limit your resource, right? How much CPU your container should take, right? That thing will be decided by you by C group, right? How much RAM container will take from your host kernel, shared kernel? That thing also decided by where? By the container. In itself, container will itself a C group will decide inside the container. Right? And also container is having many namespaces. One among is network namespace. One among is network namespace. So network, because of this network namespace, it's having its own virtual network. Every container will act like a computer, right? Every computer will act like a computer, which will be having its own NIC card. Its own, if it is having the NIC card, that means if it is having an IC card, that means it is very, very clear. It will be having IP address, MAC address, broadcast address, and all about the component networks, right? So this is how internally your Docker will manage your networking and isolation. As it is having its own network, right? Obviously, it will be the isolated from other containers, right? Now the question is how the container will communicate, right? We have still this question. Okay. Please bear with me. I will show you the demo also. There you will understand more about the containers networking. Right. So it is having its own the container NIC, right? As I told, right? So this NIC card is it is in the form of the virtual form is this container is having, right? As it is having NIC card, obviously IP address will be there, MAC address will be there, broadcast address will be there. Clear. Now let's see the different type of the Docker networking. So first we will see these three networking type: bridge network, NAT network, and host network. Right. So we'll see each we'll see in detail about each network in further slides. So just to see in about first, let's see the three mainly used Docker networking. Right, and then we first we see bridge network, right? And bridge network, it is like you can see its architecture like right. Whenever you install the Docker, you will be having Docker will create itself one bridge network, which is Docker 0, right? So this is kind of the bridge driver, right? We call it a bridge driver, right? And in this bridge driver, right, if you connect two containers on same bridge, same network, then your container will be able to share the data with each others. This is how you can see every container is having running in this bridge network. You can say the network part is network part is same and host part is different, right? Right. It is like how we have the Wi-Fi router on our home and how we connect the multiple devices, right, with our same Wi-Fi router, right? So this is like same, right? Then none. Then another network type is none. None means is what? None means there is no network, correct? So your container is running, but there is no network. If there is no network, there is no communication between any. No, there is no communication between host, and there is no communication between containers. That's what the meaning of none. Then we have host, right? Host means what? Your container will use your PC, right? Your PC NIC, right? IP, right? So there is a network. We know every host will host driver, right? So it will use the host network NIC card driver. Right, I'll show in practical way how you can see that as well, and how you can see the whenever you attach the bridge network, how it will create a virtual NIC card and it will has its own broadcast and IP addresses. That thing I will show you. Okay, when we are going to do the practical. So here, if we can run the our container with host machine, but there is a disadvantages. The main disadvantages, which is port explosions, right? Right, because port can be port will be having right. So here suppose you have running two containers, and two web containers, and two web containers need port number 88, right? So how the conflict will happen, I'm showing you, right? If your two applications, one is React application, one is Angular applications, right? Both are running same port number, right? If you use host port number, then port number 80, you have run first React application, then you are going to run the Angular application. Then your Angular application will not start because port number is already in use, right? So this is how port conflict will happen on your host network. That's why it is not recommended to use the best way of using is the bridge network, right? So let's see some more about the bridge network. So here is the architecture of the bridge network. You can see, right, guys? I highly recommend that if you don't having the knowledge about the networking, I have created a networking video, networking for DevOps, day 11 video. You can go and watch where I have explained all about the networking. How much networking you need, that much networking I have teach. Even uh, the knowledge which is having a network engineer, that much knowledge I have given there, right? So please go and watch. So you can see how this container will connect your host machine, right? Here you can see this is a Docker 0. This is a default bridge network, right? You can consider it as like a switch, right? So and here you have running two containers. One is web containers, another is database containers. We already seen every container is having its own NIC card. If it is having NIC card, IP address, MAC address, and broadcast address will be there. Right, so its interface name is Ethernet 0, and it is also having Ethernet 0, right? And this Ethernet 0 is your virtual. It can be your virtual machine or your physical machines, right? So this is like also NIC card, right? So now this container need to connect with this NIC card. Then only your container will be having the internet. If it is not having the internet, then there is no communication between two containers and there is no communication between your host machine. So the first challenge is to connect how we can connect this container. So there is a very popular terms for this, a virtual tunnel. It will create virtual tunnel. When we create virtual bridge network and we will connect that container and run that container on that bridge network, it will internally create an IP table, route table for that, right? Docker will facilitate this. So here you will see, here you will see, let me see guys what happened. Yeah, so it will create a tunnel, right? It will create a tunnel, a virtual tunnel, right? So its tunnel first end, right? Front end will be connected to your container and rear end will be connected to your Docker 0, which is the driver, right? And this driver is connected to your host virtual NIC, right? So if we able to do this, then the container will be use your Ethernet of your host machine, right? So same thing will be database. It is having its own NIC card and it will connect you to this Docker 0 network, right? If both are running on same bridge network, same drivers, then both container will be able to share the data with each other, right? Same thing you can here, you can see we can also create our own virtual network driver. We'll show how we can create our custom bridge network, and I'll show how you can debug that as well, and I'll show how your two containers will communicate. I will show the demo of the Mongo and Express Mongo. There I will show and demonstrate how you can communicate with two containers and how much this bridge network is important. All these things I'm going to explain with a moment. Okay. Apart from this, we have two more advanced networking type, right? So for that, I am having just uh, name as of now, and we'll see the demo of these networking types, right? So these are like Macvlan, right? Macvlan network, right? This is the architecture. This is going to for the your machine. Okay, we'll discuss about this. Okay, and overlay network also there, and this is also we will discuss. So as of now, it is okay and good. And if you are liking our video, please guys like and share, because we are giving a lot of effort making this kind of video. And guys, I requesting you, please like and share this video with your friends and colleagues, so that they can get the benefit from this video, right? Because I'm explaining each other in very detail. Even you are fresher and non IT background, you can understand what exactly the Docker, right? I'm not taking your time a lot, right?